Ciao, my love. If you saw yesterday's video, excuse the messy hair and the glasses, but if you saw yesterday's video about how I shared about how sometimes our soulmates are deep friendships, like, they're our friends, they're not lovers. Not all soulmates are going to be romantic partners. But if you saw that video, I just want to, what's the word, reiterate or clarify, because I don't know if I did in the video, is that, not all people that, and no matter what the connection, not all connections stay in our life forever, right? Some just come to teach us a lesson. They come to teach us what true friendship is, or what true love is, or that it even exists. Because along your journey, especially if you've encountered a lot of painful connections, it's almost as if the universe, it's already a pre-planned, predestined, our meeting with these souls, with these people in our life. It was already predestined before we even reincarnated, that we were going to meet at a certain point in our journey, in our life. And they had to come in at that exact moment to show us, again, that unconditional love exists, that true friendship exists, that good people exist. Because that was like the main message of the video, was that this soulmate that I had a deep, beautiful friendship with for almost 20 years, and that even though we disconnected, it was such a beautiful example for me that, a true friend, someone, because I've had a lot of shitty ass friendships in my past, especially with women, and that's very much a sister wound, but I'm not going to get into that. So if you've had, a lot of shitty friendships where there was betrayal, they talked behind your back, they were jealous of you, and you've always been very overgiving, very loving, very, very loyal friends, very incredible friend, but you just keep encountering these fucking, shitty ass friends. But then there are certain friendships, like the one I spoke about in the video yesterday, that come to teach you that, damn, there are people like you. There are people who are just as kind, loving, empathic, loyal, are there for you just as much as you would be there for them. That if you need them, you can just call them up and they answer, and they're never busy. They're never too busy for you. That they literally will just pick up and talk to you, or they'll tell you, hey, when I get back from dinner, when I get back from the store, when I get back from work, I'll call you and we can talk. That is just beautiful. Even if your friendship doesn't last forever, maybe it lasts, I don't know, a year, a couple months. Some people just come for a couple days, they teach you something and then they go. However long it lasts, they came to show you something. And like, for example, that friendship that I shared, it really showed me that, true friendship or beautiful friendships do exist, and that there are amazing souls out there that are just like me, and that even though I've encountered a lot of shitty ones, or that there was a lot of shitty romantic relationships, or even when guys come into my life and they give me a lot of excuses, why I didn't text you, but they were looking at my stories and then they couldn't text me back. See, when I encounter those shitty ones, I always think back and think, but there are good ones. So if the good ones exist, I'm not even gonna bother with these not nice ones, these shitty ones that I don't want, and I'm gonna focus on my energy to only cultivating connections and relationships with those that are like me, that are givers, that are lovers, that are kind, that are, that, what's the word I'm looking for? Their word means something. When they say it, they mean it. If they say they're gonna do something, they do it. If I say I'm gonna call you, I'm gonna call you. Friends that are like me, that will always be there for you. if you need something, and it's mutual. It's not just you giving. It has to be reciprocal. But these people just come along our journey to teach us sometimes that just that it exists, and you don't stay connected forever. You don't stay friends forever. You don't stay romantic partners even forever. There's sometimes people get married and then they get divorced. They're married for 5 years, or they're married for 30 years, and then it ends. People come for a reason, for a season, for a time, and then they have to go on their own journey, on their own way, and you as well. Because we're also always changing, we're always transforming. So if you are constantly transforming and you're like this completely different frequency or version of you, and they no longer match you where you're at, there's going to be a disconnect, and you're going to go your separate ways, and you're going to disconnect. They can't come along with you on your journey. Especially if you're someone, let's say you're up leveling in life, you are transforming and you're ready to go to your next level. A lot of friends are gonna drop off because they are no longer in alignment with you where you are going. So even though they're a good person, they're a good soul, they're an amazing friend, they're an amazing whatever, but they are no longer on the same journey with you and going to where you are going. And maybe there are certain people that you are meant to meet that you cannot meet them if you're still clinging to the old. You know what I'm saying? That includes any type of connection, friendship, romantic partners, exes, co-workers, I don't know, whatever the connection is. Sometimes you just have to really let them all drop and be brave enough to let them drop. Because a lot of times we want to cling. We want to cling to these connections because we're like, oh, but this is such an amazing connection. But honey, you're already up leveling to such a major level, and you're going somewhere really far, and they can no longer meet you there or come with you. You're getting ready and prepared to meet someone even better for you, like a better friend, a better partner, a better business partner, whatever it is. Maybe, again, you're releasing all these exes. Maybe you stayed friends with some of them. And sometimes you stay friends because there's still a lesson being learned, that the karma isn't finished. But then when you're ready to finally end that connection and you both just go your merry way, it's because now you're making space and you're ready to finally meet your true soulmate and your true partner. You can't meet this person if you're still stuck over here with these people. You just have to let it go. And this is not forced. This is literally by divine nature. The divine will literally take these people out of your life, and they'll ghost you. They won't talk to you. They won't reply to your messages. Things like that happen where you're like, what the fuck just happened? Like with me and my friend that I mentioned in the video from yesterday, he just kind of disappeared. Stopped responding to me or wasn't there for me anymore. Especially when I was going through something extremely painful. That doesn't take away what I said. That doesn't take away that he was an incredible friend for almost 20 years. But it's very clear that the friendship had to end. And then that's why that happened at that point in my life. And 23 was very significant. So we just disconnected. And I'm someone who isn't going to kiss anyone's, when someone shows me that they don't want to talk to me and that they're no longer wanting to be my friend, I'm like, okay, bye. It don't matter that it's been 20 years that we've been friends. If you are showing me you don't want to be friends anymore, thank you. I love you. I wish you the best. So we have to be comfortable with allowing people to go. When they show you they no longer want to be in your life, and God, the divine, whatever you believe in, is showing you that the friendship or the connection is expired, you have to let it be expired. Because you are on a different frequency, you're going on a different path, you're about to meet new people, new friends, new romantic partner. And I even say this when it comes to marriages and romantic relationships. I have learned on my journey to never be attached to being with someone forever. Even though we want to be, sometimes we want to get married and we want to be with them forever. But you have to understand that there is sometimes very deep soul contracts where sometimes, not all of us, some of us aren't meant to be with just one person forever, but not everyone. Sometimes you are meant to have children with two different people, two different soulmates, two different husbands. And that is okay. That is part of your journey. Those souls are already contracted to you to have with those specific partners. And sometimes you are meant to be married multiple times. And I share this, I think, in one of my podcasts because my parents actually were the perfect teachers for me, and they taught me this very thing. And I would not be here talking to you if that hadn't happened, because my parents were both married to other people, had children with those other people, the first wife and husband, and then for whatever reason the universe separated them from their first partners for obvious reasons, and then because things happened that made them break up, and then out of nowhere they ended up being in the same place at the same time, and they were ready to date and be in a relationship, and then eventually I came to be, So again, when any type of connection ends, you have to learn to detach and let go. I think there's this saying that attachment is the root of all suffering. I don't know if it was from the Buddha, but it's true. When we are attached to people, to places, to things, we suffer because we don't want to let it go. And I have the perfect example, which is a personal story that I could share about how I also learned this on my romantic journey, because I was also in a 5-year committed relationship when I was living in London a few years ago. And how I also had to learn to let go, because as much as I was holding on to this connection, even though it was already pretty obvious that it had expired and that it had to be let go of, I was clinging and clinging and clinging and clinging, and it was only hurting me and making things worse. But the universe will intervene when you are refusing to let go and to surrender. It will intervene and make you surrender. So anyway, that's probably going to be also a story that I will probably have to share on my Patreon, because I'm going to be sharing a lot more personal teachings and probably longer videos on the Patreon. But as soon as that's ready, as soon as those videos are up, I will share the link for that. And yeah, any other links, like to my Etsy shop for intuitive readings or mentorship or guidance, will be also linked below. But anyway, I think this is the message that I really wanted to share, because I know someone needs to hear this. Anyway, I love you, and un bacio, alla prossima. Mwah.